Hey guys, welcome back to The Horror with your hostess with the mostest, Jen Bell. As always, welcome back, welcome back. So we are doing a movie review today. If you could tell by the title of this video, I'm going to go ahead and review our one of our movies from our DVD horror pack of the month of December, from the month of December. So this is a movie that I know that I had stated when I was doing my unboxing that I kind of had heard a little bit of buzz about it. There's a lot of people who really enjoy this movie. I have to be honest, I'm a little indifferent about this movie. I wasn't overly I don't want to say excited about. I didn't overly love this movie, but there's certainly things about this movie that I felt they did very well. And I'll explain. And this is kind of why I'm like a little indifferent. Like I said, I didn't overly love it or anything. I didn't really necessarily hate it, so to speak. But once again, like I said, there are things about it that I did enjoy about this movie. I think they kind of did uh, nail it on a few things. And I have to say, I was a little nervous going into this movie because I know that, like, the premise of this movie is that, this young kid is kind of influenced by horror movies. He's watching horror movies and everything. His older brother's really into horror movies, so he's kind of getting into them and everything. So I was a little nervous that they were going to have that as, like, the main focus of why these brothers kind of are a little confused, I should say, in the head. And they didn't do that. They definitely did kind of draw upon that a little bit, but they kind of show throughout the movie that there are other influences besides horror movies for these boys to, or I should say, these brothers to kind of act out a bit. So I'm glad that they did that. It wasn't just like, oh well, horror movies are the reason why people do crazy stuff. So, but basically, what it is, two brothers growing up and everything. One brother is older. I'm guessing. I don't think they really specify how old the older brother is. I'm guessing probably between 17 to 19 years old. He's a little bit older. And then the younger brother, I think they say he's like in like fifth grade or something, so right around there. Still a very impressionable young kid, definitely probably much more impressionable than the older brother, who's still impressionable, but not as impressionable as the younger brother. And like the younger brother really kind of looks up to the older brother and everything, kind of rightfully so. I mean, I remember really growing up. I mean, I still look up to my older siblings and everything, but I remember at that age really looking up to my siblings because they're all like pretty significantly older than me. And I just remember looking up to them and being like, oh my God, like they know everything. So I kind of did find myself being sort of relating to that aspect with the younger brother. And then also, too, the younger brother was really kind of picked on in school and stuff, is another thing that I could kind of relate to. I was definitely kind of like an offbeat kid. I was kind of awkward. I'm still awkward. I'm an awkward adult, but I own it now. But I was definitely kind of picked on during school or in school and everything, like all through school and everything. So that's something I definitely related to. So just little things like that I enjoyed about, and that's what I kind of said at the beginning of the film, that there's like other factors of why these kids kind of are the way they are and everything, especially the older son. And even like the parents too, like the older son, it comes to find out, spoiler alert, is actually like committing murders. And he's killing. I don't want to spoil too much because I know there's still people who have not seen this movie, but he's killing a specific race of people, and basically he kind of does explain like a little over halfway through the movie, maybe more towards the end, last like maybe third of the movie, quarter of the movie or whatever, of like, oh well, dad says this about these kind of people, and like, look, they're showing up at like mom's church, they're everywhere, they're showing up at jobs and stuff. So even like that, where it's like the parents' beliefs and thoughts and prejudices are being kind of handed down, whether intentionally or unconsciously. Unconsciously? No, not not unconsciously, but just kind of like whether they were aware of it or not, were kind of being passed down to the sons and everything. So, things like that that I'm glad that they put into this movie. It wasn't just like, oh, well, these boys are kind of messed up and they're doing the things that they're doing because just of horror movies. So it's like things like that. There's multiple factors of why people do the things that they do. It's not just one specific thing that triggers someone. But no, it's things like that that I do really appreciate about this movie. One scene or one moment in the movie that I really do enjoy. I'm not necessarily saying it that violence is the answer, but I understand why the younger brother did this. It was a scene where him and his mom are at church and everything, and the kid kind of wanders off, and one of the other kids at the church event at the ceremony or sermon. I don't go to church. Do I look like I go to church? I don't go to church. Awesome if you do, though. I'm not bashing it, just saying. But he kind of goes off, and one of the other kids kind of follows him, and he starts, like, picking on this kid, like, oh, you're this, you're that, blah, 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 this is why no one likes you, da, da, da. And, the kid, he had it. So he stood up for himself. He started beating the crap out of this kid. Like I said, I'm not necessarily saying that violence is the answer, but the fact that the kid stood up for himself, and was like, you know what, I'm not taking it anymore. And he even said too, because like they break it up, the parents find them because the kid's screaming, so they find him and everything, and like the preacher or pastor or whatever kind of sits him down and is like, why are you doing this? Like, if you're being picked on, come to an adult. You can come to us. And the kid straight up, was so honest, and I think it's so true. It's like, well, I have come to you guys. You guys don't do anything. It seems like if I do anything, I get in trouble, and these kids get away with making fun of me, and everything. So it's like things like that I'm just like, they really hit on the mark. With that being said, though, I mean, even though I am a bit indifferent on this movie, I could definitely tell you, I feel like this is a movie that the more I watch, the more I will definitely appreciate it, even though I'm not like, not the biggest fan of it, but I could see myself really, really kind of enjoying it. I know I could, I mean, heck, look at Cry Wolf. I just re-reviewed that one, and I know I was kind of like, I'm coming around to that one. But like I said, I mean, Found, it definitely hits it on the mark with certain points in this movie and everything. Really enjoyable. I definitely think it is worth at least a watch, see what you guys think about it. And like I said, you might be like me where you're like, it's not quite up my alley, but I have a certain appreciation for some of the stuff they did in here. Really good. It is, I will say this, it is really good. And I totally see why people love and adore this movie. I'm not taking that away from you guys. I'm not going to be bashing this film, even though I'm not, like I said, the biggest fan of it. They did do some things right in here, so check this one out. I would normally probably give this one a grade, but I feel like I don't feel right doing it just because, like I said, it's one that I'm a little indifferent on, but I feel like it might be growing on me. So, maybe I will. I would say maybe like 6 out of 10. I think I would probably do it a little higher if I was a little more for it. If I enjoyed it a little bit more, I would say I'd probably like an 8 out of 10. So, but like I said, this is definitely one that I'm probably going to be watching more and more, and probably getting more and more on board with this movie. So, but I mean, like I said, things about it that I liked, things about it that I loved. So, but anyway, there's my little review about it. Till next time, you guys, as always, stay creepy, classy, and a little bit sassy.